The last topic that I wanted to bring up, which is one that I'm sure Chad is going to love, and you've talked about many, many times, involves Shaiiko. So obviously the score has been putting out a couple videos.
A few.
Just a few. Treading the same ground over and over again. And you tweeted the other day basically asking them to pull the story, or at least not pull the story, but ask for confirmation on some of the things. And they told you that everything was true. Now, as somebody who, I'm not even really related to this drama, but the amount of people that pop into my stream and say to me, why did Pengu get Shaiiko banned? For two questions for you. First question, how dare you? Second question, how do you, Pengu, Nick, the flightless bird, how are you capable of single-handedly banning such an incredible competitor all on your own with no help from anybody else? I just want to know. And also, can you not ban a couple players? And also, if I give you money, can you ban some current players? But
you see, Parker, the benefit of owning Ubisoft as an individual is that I can do whatever the fuck I want, right?
Right. Okay.
And this is where the hypocrisy comes apart, because if I own Ubisoft, I can do whatever I want. Why haven't I made the change that I'm suggesting, right? Why am I complaining about the utility meta and not doing anything about it? But I'm banning Shaiiko because it's better than me.
Right. That's for the record, there are people who sincerely believe that you got him banned solely because he was better than you, even though you beat them in their match. So I don't really understand. Anyway, people are stupid. But I do want to give you somewhat of a platform to talk about this, because it has been years since this happened. Shaiiko was banned.
It's been 3 years.
Over 3 years. October 11th. October 11th was when he was banned back in 2017.
Yeah, that's so long ago. That's crazy to think about.
It's crazy to think about.
He was banned for 2 years. Almost 2 years.
The one to me that's crazy is like, I feel like Bolo was just 15 yesterday, bro. Like,
dude,
I remember when this guy was 15 and like smoking me in ranked, and I was like, I got time. I'm like, it's only 3 years from, like, it's 3 years from now. Like,
look at you now,
Troy. Troy, Yaga is playing competitively. Like,
I know. It's so crazy to think about.
But here's the question that I want to ask for you, because I mean, most people know, and I would assume that there are Shaiiko fanboys who are always going to hate you for this, and obviously there are Pengu fanboys who are always going to hate Shaiiko and Shaiiko's fanboys for this. The one thing that is often missing from this conversation is that Shaiiko was unbanned early. He was unbanned early because he went through, as was confirmed by ESL on social media, because he went through what is considered the rehabilitation program, which is private information, usually involves a PR representative and or a lawyer, usually involves corporate on ESL side of things, because this is a serious matter, and also usually involves the person apologizing and explaining what they did, which is the big thing that is missing from this conversation. Doesn't always mean that's the case, but the vast majority have to admit that they did something wrong, apologize for it, and explain how they've grown from it. That is the purpose of the rehabilitation program. So all of these people saying, well, there wasn't any proof, oh, there was never anything shown, yada, 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 are missing the fact that the reason why Shaiiko was unbanned early was because he went through a program that almost always unfailingly involves the person having to admit their guilt and show how they've grown from it.
Yeah.
So this is a part of the conversation that is often missing, and people don't know this, and we will never know if he actually did. That information is sealed. It is never going to be public. There is obviously under NDA. People would lose their jobs if they unveiled it. We don't know what he said. We don't know what he submitted. But for you are now friends with Shaiiko. There is that picture of you shaking hands at Six Invitational.
That's a good one, actually.
Where was it that he woke you up? Was that OGA Pit?
That was OGA Pit, yes.
Right.
We were at the after party. I left early because I had an early flight. I guess Fabian stayed because Fabian brought him to my room, because me and Fabian share a room. And I just hear someone like, "Sup, bitch?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, I just woke up from like a 4-hour power nap, and I was just dying laughing, because I was like, that's like the perfect thing ever, because we were at the after party and we're like close to each other, and you could almost feel the stress and the awkwardness in the air between like me and him, and like everyone around us. And I left, and they had a great time. They came back, and we almost kind of put it behind us in that given moment, right? We were like, we can get past this. We can have fun. Like, we have shared common friends. We play the same game. We're gonna play each other many, many times, and we're gonna play together in FPL, which we ended up doing on the same team. And everyone is confused in Twitch chat. Why are they on the same team? How can they do this? How can they laugh together? Everyone lost their minds, right?
Mhm.
And the matter of fact is that we moved on a long time ago. The second he was unbanned, I have had no bad faith towards him. I have wished him nothing but luck in every single match we've had. Shook his hand every time we've played, even in defeat on multiple occasions. And look at what Shaiiko has become now. One of the best players, not even in Europe, one of the best players in the world, right? And the only thing that is being drawn from this is still the same Pengu versus Shaiiko every single time, right? BDS used to be a Shaiiko team. It is now a full BDS team where Shaiiko is thriving as a player. And the other part of the story that people miss regarding, they forgot his end is that I didn't get Shaiiko banned alone. It was quite literally every single professional team had at least one player involved in this massive document. I'm talking gigantic document. Almost every single Challenge League team had a player involved. We had some old Reddit moderators, Wikipedia people involved that were also been trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. And all I did was that I basically put my name on that document and said, I am sending this document to ESL. And I haven't seen it since. It's still in my Google Drive somewhere probably, but I haven't seen it since. And I didn't know what was going to happen with that document until the official announcement. I had no idea. And obviously when that happened, it was a party day. Because we had a worry as a society that there was something fishy going on. And I think we have every right to say that we're worried. We said, hey, ESL, we think something's up here. This is what we found. Can you do your own investigation? And whatever you come up with is true. Or that's jury, judge, executioner kind of style, right?
Yeah.
And they did an investigation for quite some time. And they ended up deeming that not just was the proof that we sent valid, but what they found on their end apparently was also valid. And the outcome was a 2-year ban. And he has served his sentence in my eyes. And he's come out a greater person, greater player. And you can almost even argue that he benefited greatly from this ban, as terribly as that sounds. I'm not saying I did a good thing for him, but as terrible as it is, Shaiiko has benefited massively from this. And that's a good thing. I'm glad that he came out on top. I'm glad that he's now a great player. I'm glad that he proved a lot of people wrong in the fact that they were like, oh, he's only good because he was cheating, or whatever the case might have been. Because clearly the guy's not cheating anymore. He's just really fucking good. Right?
Right.
So where do we go from now? Well, we're arguably friends. We've DM'd a few times, amongst the years. He was like, yo, what's up? I got all these people saying that I'm a cheater. And I was like, yeah, I got all these guys spamming 4 for 4 in my chat. Do you struggle? I struggle kind of thing. And we both got the worst of it, right? He has a lot of enemies. I have a lot of enemies. My fans hates him, vice versa. But if we can get past it, the 2 people that were involved with this directly, I do believe that the community could perhaps follow along and just kind of let him be Shaiiko, not just be Shaiiko the banned person. And then I could be Pengu and not Pengu, the guy that owns ESL who banned Shaiiko kind of thing. Because there's not much more to this story than just one guy had a concern, bunch of people helped, we sent in a document, and ESL did their thing.
And still, despite all this, and despite what I said, which was backed up by Secretly, by the way, and anybody who's worked for ESL, and this is not a Rainbow Six thing. The ESL rehabilitation program is for all games.
Yeah.
Players have gone through it before in other games. They have spoken about the process. CSGO players have talked about it, where they completely own up to cheating, apologize, and they still don't get granted forgiveness.
Yeah.
The fact that Shaiiko got granted forgiveness would lead me to believe that he probably admitted it and apologized for it and showed how he's not going to do it again. That would be my guess. That is obviously all speculation, and maybe it is incorrect speculation. I don't know. None of us will know.
No.
Still, despite that, there are people in the chat saying, oh, he never cheated.
Yeah, and I think people are right to their opinions on this topic, right? But the fact is that we don't know. We'll
never know for sure what's included in that document. We'll never know for sure what Ubisoft found. We'll never know for sure what ESL found. I think the best way to sum it up is ice cold. formerly of ESL, now of Face It, who said, "Do I blame the people for being misinformed about this? No, but I do blame them if they are purposefully avoiding getting properly informed." And that is where I think it breaks down. People like to blame Moss and say, well, Moss was really shit. Talon, former pro player from NA, literally did an entire series of tweets on how the people who were saying that, oh, Renshiro, oh, Adam, oh, Skies were also using macros was not correct, and how there was actual variances there in comparison to Shaiiko's Moss files. So, I mean, people don't care to look it up. And I do agree with you. I think that, I think that Shaiiko probably benefited to a certain extent in terms of popularity. He's always going to have this aura around him now. And imagine the storyline it'll be when he finally wins something. I'll be honest. At the beginning when he got unbanned, I was a little bit worried about if he did win something, because how am I going to react? He's just been unbanned for cheating.
Yeah.
How am I going to react to calling a moment where somebody who was a cheater has now won something? And that was something that Kix and I have actively talked about. How are we going to phrase our comments, our praise, and the winning call of somebody whose record will forever be tainted by this ban for cheating? But at the end of the day, you have to kind of set that aside. And when Shaiiko got unbanned, I sent him a DM basically just saying, like, slate's clean. Bygones are bygones. We all make mistakes. I'm excited to see what you do now that you're back. All the best.
Yeah.
And like, that was it. And I think that that's the fair thing to do. I think people do make mistakes. I think it is a colossal mistake. I think that there are people whose careers were ruined because of this mistake. But I still think that forgiveness is acceptable. And I mean, he's shown what he can do. And I don't think there's anybody who's doubting how talented Shaiiko is and what he's capable of. And I mean, if his team wins the major again,
yeah,
and you go from there.
Yeah. Either way, it's a good story. No matter what the outcome is in everyone's individual head, I still think there's a lot of, and I think that's why it's so popular, is because the drama and like this, it's almost like an American TV drama show thing, right? It's like, pick your sides, choose your warrior, who's in the right, who's in the wrong kind of thing. And the narrative is almost like, we spoke about this right before we went live, Troy and I, is that it's almost like the narrative was in the Win It All documentary, where it was like, oh, Canadian's only purpose in life is to beat Pengu in T2 because he lost to him so many times. It's like, that's not what that was at all. And that's not who Troy is. And that is such a wrong picture to paint. But if this, which in this case is the Score Esports, if they draw this picture for the audience, most people don't know the details. Most people might not even know who the freak we are, right? They don't follow Pro League that specifically. But the picture that's being painted for them and the information that they're being fed is inaccurate. And as you said, Parker, I did in fact try and get a hold of the head of content for the Score Esports. He responded back to me and he basically said, this video is relevant, it's recent news, and we believe that every single part of this is factually true. And I was like, well, shit, I tried. They think it's true, that's fine, I can't change it. My only fear is that they're misinforming a lot of people. Whether it's about me, whether it's about Troy, I don't really care what it's about. I just want this story to be told correctly, right? Because it just harms people.
I remember I watched the first video they put out on it, which was the big one that blew up.
I couldn't watch it.
What?
I couldn't watch it.
So I watched it and I just remember watching it and I was like, this is so skewed towards one way. And it's like, we reached out to ESL for comment and they gave us this boilerplate comment. It's like, yeah, because ESL's not going to be like, well, let's take you through what we found. Like, nobody's going to do that, right?
No.
Former Rainbow Six admin, who everybody loves, BK, posted in the chat and he says the way that the rehab process worked back at the time involves a lot of communication with the affected people, where they start writing big essays, they explain themselves, they share a lot of other files and media. It is a very, very, very long process that involves multiple parties at ESL. It is not just one admin doing the judgment. Honestly, of course, it's also honesty is a big part in that. Yeah. Honesty is a big part in that. And at the end of the day, the thing that doesn't matter to me is whether he cheated at this point is immaterial. I couldn't give two shits if he did. It's shitty if he did. Who cares? If he's unbanned, he's making up for lost time. Cool. The thing I care about now is misrepresenting the story and trying to change how history was. Because I remember hearing about Shaiiko because I never really watched EU Pro League when I started casting. And Troy, I don't know if you'd heard about him, but
no, I'd heard about him.
Yeah, I mean, I'd heard tons of things, and I'd heard tons of things from other French players too, who had said like, yeah, we think he cheats. And it's like to just pin it on one person. And I do think, and you and I, Pengu, have spoken about things you've said and tweeted in the past that I've disagreed with. We've had nice, long conversations about it. I don't think this is an instance where you deserve the full and entire blame for it. And if Shaiiko forgives you, then everybody else should, and people should just move the fuck on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same way goes, so obviously on the other spectrum of this, right? If I'm fine with it, if I can forgive and move on and forget, or not forget necessarily, but move on and forgive, so should the people judging Shaiiko for this as well. I don't see a reason as to why we should continue digging into this past of his, which affects so many people from ESL staff, from like BK, for example. He was like the name, the admin.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of people that was saying that BK was like our parket admin and we like bribed him, and like a lot of people got negatively affected by this without like way outside the circle.
I remember when people were like, well, of course, at the time, Penta was a German org.
BK
Penta's
German
a German
admin.
org, BK is German, ESL is a German company.
Yeah,
of course they're going to favor that against the French. And I was like...
Yeah. I remember reading that one.
Yeah.
Like,
and the saddest part was that there were French players and French casters who were on board with that thought process. And I was like, how? Just how much of a partisan fucking hack are you? That you are just, you're it's vacant up here. That you are just ready to latch on to one of the, like this dumb nationalist garbage where it's like, well, you know, the French and the Germans hate each other. And I'm like, dude, ESL is not looking at culture or borders to try to punish players. Like,
no, that one was ridiculous. I mean,
yeah, and Ubisoft is a French company, by the way, who also had to go along with this. But you know, I guess they're also just like on the side.
Cut that part out.
Yeah, people definitely forget that. Like, I think the big thing is that they think only like Pengu got Shaiiko banned, and I think that's one of the more ridiculous parts of it is that it takes more than that. Like, Pengu wasn't just like, nah, this guy's cheating, and then that was that, right? Like, a lot of people would have had to say it. A lot of people had to get clips. A lot of like Moss files had to be gone through. Like, it wasn't just Pengu thinks he cheats. Pengu did all this work. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. So I was a part of like getting Clever. Well, he didn't even get banned.
Oh, I remember that.
He made a
YouTube video.
He left. Yeah.
But I was part of that trying to get him banned. And we had someone from every team in there sign this document. We went through all of these clips together. This was before Moss even, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe, no, Moss was a thing at the time, but I don't think they didn't prove anything.
Wire wasn't? I thought there was only one anti-cheat at the time.
I thought we only had a wire, didn't we, back then?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought at the time there was only one wire.
Yeah, I think Moss came later.
There's only one anti-cheat, which was either Wire or Moss.
I'm not
entirely sure.
But yeah, it takes more than that. Man.
So you're saying you single-handedly got Clever banned?
Yes, because Canada hates America or something.
Yeah, you hate small business owners.
I mean,
he was checking his monitor to report
I was
on
gonna
his
say,
businesses.
let's say
He's
that
working his
Clever
IT
wasn't a
job.
streamer. What would he got caught because he streamed, and Troy was obviously being smart about it. But what if that guy never streamed? That guy could have been cheating for a long time.
100%.
No,
that's where he fucked up.
Imagine that. Cheaters aren't smart.
People would have figured something out, but no one would have proved anything. Like,
exactly. Yeah. What do you do then if
he would have gone to LAN and we would have been like, huh, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, because we actually played them first in the year 1 season 1 Pro League finals. We played VWS without him, of course, and we clapped them. And it was very evident that they got carried to that Pro League final, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Part of this problem does stem from the fact that on stream you did stupidly say something along the lines of like, I got Shaiiko banned or something like that.
I was actually gonna talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good time to clear the air on that.
This is where the Score Esports fucked up. So the biggest issue with this is that those VODs don't exist anymore because DMCA, like they're gone, like literally non-existent. And I actually reached out to the Score Esports and asked them, do you guys have the entire clip? Because this was like, let's say a 6-7 hour VOD, maybe 8 even back then. And to my memory, and to what I know, it doesn't go, I'm the guy that got Shaiiko banned, boom. Because surely I wouldn't just say that without context, right? I'm pretty sure it's more like I got Shaiiko banned. I was a part of the people that reported him with 20 other people, you know? But the only part that the Score Esports video shows is quite literally word for word, I'm the guy that got Shaiiko banned, cut. And that looks great in a non-contextual matter, right? Because, oh, that's Pengu admitting to him banning Shaiiko. Like, he pressed the button, he did that. But if you actually look at the context, and again, I asked them for the clip, they refused to send it to me. If they have it, I would love for them to do it. There is so much more to that than just those few words. But it was never shown. And the clip does not exist unless they saved it. What do we do about that? I've tried to prove that many, many times. People don't care. Back then, that is. Because it's a fact. It was in the video. Seen by 2.6 million people, I think. Summit saw it on stream. Shroud saw it on stream. A lot of traction that got. It was a big deal. And rightfully so.
Is there anything you regret about the handling of the Shaiiko situation?
Oh yeah. I wish I had just been like as I said, I think there was 17 or 20 people, maybe more, maybe less, on that document. And not a single person, to my knowledge, has actively, vocally said, I was a part of that list. Because you don't want to be on that list. I wish I had just been like, oh, Shaiiko got banned. I had no idea. Because there was no reason to be involved. There was no reason to be proud of my efforts in that case. Because with Canadian's video, that was a public YouTube video, right? That was very evidently Canadian. What we did was, quote unquote, the proper way. We conducted an investigation ourselves, and we sent it off to the right authorities. We had our organization involved and everything. There was no reason for me to bring that to light whatsoever. And I was streaming, I think, when the announcement happened, and I had no idea what was going to happen. I was like, it's like winning. It's like, yes, and you do the wrong thing, right? If I had taken 10 seconds and just been like, oh, that's crazy because he was a really good player, but I would have never thought he was cheating, it would have been a whole different story. But it would have been the same outcome in the sense that he would have been banned, and I would have lived on to live my life. But because I said that, there's this whole 2-3 year of like bullshit that impacts so many people kind of thing. I wish I had just been there, you know?
I feel like you've learned a lot over social media.
Certainly.
I feel like you've learned a lot over social media over the last couple of years, because
I wish I had social media training. I don't blame the fact that I did those mistakes on the fact that I didn't have the social media training, but fuck me, did I wish that I did have the training to avoid those things.